Okay, we're here with Gary Miller, class of 2002 OATA Hall of Fame, currently the coordinator of athletic training services for the Cleveland Clinic. So please tell us how you got interested in athletic training and give us a brief synopsis of your career.
Well, in high school I started, as many people did, playing sports. I was a football player as a freshman in high school. I was injured, and that pretty much ended my athletic career. I wasn't a real big kid in high school, and so I had a couple coaches that interested me in taking care of the athletes as a manager. So I started out working first of all with track and field, and then I began to work with the football team also. So basically I was in high school working with football and track and field as a manager. One of the track coaches at our high school got me interested in the athletic training part of it, and got me hooked up with the old Kramer student trainer course that you took as a kind of a correspondence course. And that's really how I started out doing it. And then as I looked into the profession and decided that's what I wanted to do in high school, I started then looking at colleges and places that I could go to do it. Of course, I was living in Westerville at the time, and Ohio State obviously was the big school there. I sent some letters out to Ohio State and Bowling Green and a couple others, and I basically found out at Ohio State they waited until you were there, like you're in your third spring quarter, before they would select you. Bowling Green, I had the lucky opportunity to get back a letter from Robert Livingood, who was the head athletic trainer at the time, and he actually invited me up for a campus visit. And once I visited the campus at Bowling Green and talked with Bob Livingood, my mind was made up to go there. So I decided to go to Bowling Green. Spent 4 years as a student trainer we called it back then, there, and then went on to graduate school at Central Michigan University, was hired back at Bowling Green as the assistant athletic trainer at Bowling Green. After that time, I actually spent some time as a pharmaceutical rep, and also worked at the local high school. And then about 1983, decided to go back into athletic training full-time, and ended up at St. Francis Medical Center in Peoria, Illinois, which was one of the first outreach programs in athletic training under Dr. Bernie Cahill, who was a big orthopedic surgeon at that time, sports medicine. From there, since my wife was from the Cleveland area, we came back, and Rocky River High School had a position open, so I went back to Rocky River and became the first head athletic trainer at Rocky River High School. Our team position was Dr. Michael Ritz, and he was just opening a clinic the following year in Westlake, and I decided to go with him and open up his clinic, and we started an outreach program on the west side that since has become Orthopedic Associates. From there, Baldwin Wallace College had an opening for a head athletic trainer, and I applied and was there, and went to Baldwin Wallace as the only athletic trainer. I had about 6 students and was there for 16 years. We built a athletic training curriculum at that time, was accredited in 2003, and from there I went on to work. At 2003 I actually resigned and went to work for, actually my brother-in-law had a company in disaster services, and went to work there for a few years until I returned to the Cleveland Clinic, Fairview Hospital, about 2008, and managed 4 outpatient facilities, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech and hearing, and we had 7 athletic trainers covering schools in the west side of Cleveland. And from there, the Cleveland Clinic decided to merge all of its athletic training programs under regional hospitals, and I became the coordinator at that time. So that brings me all the way full circle back to the Cleveland Clinic, where I now help to supervise athletic trainers in the field. And I've also gone back and I do cover as an assistant athletic trainer back at Baldwin Wallace University now.
How did you first get involved with the OATA?
I was back in the years when OATA was very brand new, and I actually was in Illinois when the OATA was formed. And when I returned back in 1983, I came back and joined the OATA. I had been in some early meetings with the OATA, and I came back and joined. I got involved with the newsletter. At that time, we printed the newsletter and sent it out. And so I was the editor of the newsletter for several years, but it was a mailing at that time. Now it's pretty much online. And worked with several of the committees and so forth. And that was my first initial meeting with the OATA.
What is the best part of being an athletic trainer or being involved with the OATA?
Well, I think the best part of being an athletic trainer is the relationships that you develop with institutions, athletes, as you go through your career, and also with, in my case, I had a lot of students that went into athletic training, and being able to follow those students from their start and follow students that were doing what I did. I think that's a very rewarding part of it. The OATA, obviously, a lot of the people in the OATA I've known for many years, being an athletic trainer for 42 years. You see a lot of people come up and take leadership roles and take over in those types of things, and that is always, for me, exciting to see how they've stepped forward and taken the OATA to a much higher level than when it was when we first started it years ago.
What are your favorite memories from being involved in the OATA?
I think some of the meetings in the OATA and some of the early meetings where we had, just a few people meeting in high school cafeterias, and to see how rapidly it grew over the years. I think that's been the most important part of me watching the OATA as it has grown every year. As we became licensed, the OATA became much more important and has really flourished since that time to where the meetings are run very professionally. Where in the past our meetings were pretty much get-togethers. Now our meetings have a lot more CEU content and so forth. So I think that's been the thing, to see it grow as it has.
Please describe a typical day for you when you were at your first job.
My first job actually was with the Chicago Cubs minor league team down in Bradenton, Florida. And that was back in the day when you were hired as a trainer in the minor leagues. You did both equipment and you took care of injuries. So my dates usually started like 6:30 in the morning, getting the laundry done, making sure everything was in the lockers of our athletes, and then having injury checks in the morning. And usually, if we were at home, getting everything ready for a game situation, setting up, taking your pictures and making sure they were ready and stretching them out and so forth, and getting the field set up. And then we had a game. Usually our games were most of the time in the afternoons, so you were there for a baseball game. Back in that time, we played 7 days in a row and we had 1 day off. And we traveled by school bus down in Florida. It was hot. And I just remember I lived on the base at Pirate City, which is still there. And pretty much from 6:30 until we got back at night, you were just busy as could be. And that was a very difficult work schedule. But I was working with baseball and with the Cubs, and it was exciting. Met a lot of interesting coaches and players at that time. So that was my first job.
What is the biggest change you have seen in athletic training?
Well, I think the biggest change in my lifetime as a career in 42 years has basically been the role of the women and girls in athletic training. When I started out in Bowling Green, we did not have girls who were athletic training students. And that was kind of a unique thing. When you went to the NATA conference, you did not see women. If you did, they stuck out. It was very unusual to see several women. And since that time, having students that were women and watching women advance in the profession, I think has been the biggest change. And I think as of today, I think the women are probably more of the membership. I think it's pretty close to 50-50, but to see women now in the profession, sports, which they should be, seeing them on college football sidelines, I think it's just fantastic. I had so many great female athletic training students, and I know that they could pretty much handle anything at this point. And professional football is still, has only about one or two, and I think that's been the biggest change, and I think will continue to be the biggest change in athletic training.
If you could change one thing in our profession, what would it be?
I think we deserve recognition by Medicare. I think one of the biggest things that's held us back is insurance reimbursement, and that the Medicare set the tone when they eliminated us. We now see other professions like physical therapy assistants who don't even need a college degree being recognized by insurance companies, by Medicare, that they can have their services reimbursed. And I think that's important because a lot of our initial jobs that athletic training students have now are in the clinical area. And if that is one of our biggest areas that they come out at, and what we're finding is the clinical setting has been limited by insurance reimbursement. And I think, to me, to give our new athletic training students a place in outreach programs at hospitals and clinics, if insurance reimbursement were available to our profession at that level, it would change our profession greatly. And I think we're being held back by certain entities at this point, and I think that would be the biggest change that would upgrade our profession.
What is one quote you are known for, or a phrase that you've repeated throughout your career?
I guess one of them is, and this is used in other sports, but I always have said, for those who remain, the rewards are great. And I really mean, if you remain in athletic training for a long period of time, the rewards are great, because what you find out is the athletes return to you, the institution that you're at rewards you in other ways, and you're recognized for what you've done. At the time, it doesn't seem like you're doing as much, but to have students come back, to have athletes come back, coaches recognize you, athletic directors recognize you, and institutions recognize you for the time that you've put in and the difference you made in many, many athletes' lives and careers. I think those are rewards that you get that you don't always see until you're in it for a long period of time.
Do you have any pearls of wisdom for younger members?
At the present time, I try and tell students that I now supervise to get as much education as you can, get in as many opportunities to internship that you can. Our profession is very competitive. The more things that you can have on your resume, the more things you can do as far as getting into graduate assistantships, internships, will help you down the road. And get involved in as many different educational opportunities as you can when you're young, because you don't have time to do that as you get into the profession.
Okay. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.